everyone, I'm Amber Nicole of SpecialtyShoeLover.com, and recently I had a chance to visit Monroe & Company's footwear factory located in Clarksville, Arkansas. Monroe is a family-owned American private label footwear brand, and their Chief Financial Officer, Molly Monroe, was my tour guide for this visit.
Hey, how you doing? Amber.
The first stop on the tour was in the production and development department. The engineers in this area translate designer sketches into technical packages, which are later used for the footwear craftsmen to actually create the shoes. Next up is the cutting department, where all the fun begins.
So, these are the cutting machines. Skiving reduces the thickness of the material where it's going to be sewn together. Almost every single piece of material, leather, fabric, doubler, has to be skived. Now, she's just doing material, but you can see now that this edge right here, because this is going to be sewn, and this is going to be sewn, and this has now been reduced. Usually we try to do it by 32nd to a 16th of an inch, and reducing the amount of material. But again, every single part, so let's say you have 10 parts in your shoe, you're probably going to have 20 skives, because you're going to have it skived usually on at least 2 edges. Some parts will be skived on 3, some parts might be stitched on 4 edges all the way around. This is much easier. Okay, so here's the part. This is going to be the toe of a shoe, okay? This is what we call a vamp. And this vamp is going to be sewn here and here. So you can see we've now reduced the material. We've thinned it. So when this piece is sewn to the piece that's going to go here, there's not a bulky seam. It should be the same thickness as this material is right here. The purpose is to avoid seams that will rub and hurt the foot. She's pounding all those seams to make sure they're nice and flat and smooth. So our shoes have a tremendous amount of tape, like I said, reinforcers, things like that. All of this is handwork. It's really not, there really isn't a machine that you can develop that would be able to do this. It is many different styles. That's what it all comes down to. We only made one shoe. We made, 1,000 pair a day. Teeny little piece of material. I can't see. It's so small. Very exact work. On the back part of the shoe, that's a real stress point, right? The back seam of the shoe is a very high stress point. There's a lot of load that's going to be put on that. To keep it strong, we put tape on this back seam. Go ahead, baby. So this machine, as you can see, is pulling the tape down, and it's applying tape to that back. It's also pounding that seam down a little bit to help flatten it so it's not as bulbous and bulky. Another tough job.
Oh, wow.
This is called hanging linings. So she is stitching the lining to the outside, okay? And that's going to be reversed and turned inside out when we go to last it. Again, I want you to notice on her machine that there's no gauge on that machine, okay?
Wow.
So she has to do that by just hand-eye coordination.
And depth perception.
And depth perception. And she's got to be able to do that perfectly, because this, remember Clyde talking about? Look how close that has to be. You see how precise she has to be with her sewing. And she's got to do it all the way around the shoe. All the way. There's one of your nicks. This nick matches this nick. This tells her that she's on point. Then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this inside out. And the shoe is going to get made like that. And that gives you this nice rounded edge here.
That's amazing without a gauge. Me encanta sus trabajas.
A mí también.
Sí.
Oh, that's great.
Los detalles que necesitan hogar algo como este es increíble.
Sí, es muy bonito, muy detallista.
Yes. Yes.
So now we get to the real finessing. So these are all of these women here are absolute top stitchers, right?
Wow.
They're doing what's called fancy stitching. So fancy stitching is anything that is going to be seen by the customer, okay? And again, as you can see, her tolerances are extremely tight. That has to be perfect because, of course, now you can see this. You know, when you're doing some of the other things, it's inside the shoe. It gets off a little bit. Okay, no big deal. No harm, no foul. Absolutely, all of these women, it can't be off by even a 30-second. Or even more importantly, on a job like this, it can't be wavy. She's got to make sure that those seams are exactly to the edge. And that's really the most challenging
It looks like a loafer.
thing of all. This is a loafer style that we're doing. It's a shoe called the Harrison.
Because could you imagine a wavy stitch loafer like the...
Sure. You can see how precise she's got to be. It already has one seam, and now she's adding the second decorative seam. But again, she's got to be exactly the same width away from this first seam all the way around. The tricky part is when she makes that turn. So when she turns that material, turns that shoe, again, it's holding it steady so it's perfect all the way around. Jennifer's doing the initial. Hey, Jennifer. She's putting that first, so she's putting actually the plug in. So Jennifer is inserting the plug, and the plug is this part right here. So this is the plug, and Jennifer is sewing the plug into the vamps and the quarters. Sorry, babe. Anyway, so she's doing, again, her seam's got to be perfect. So the next operator has a perfect seam to stitch against. If her seam's wavy, then even though her seam is straight, it's not going to look good. Department it's called match up and set up. So match up is where they actually match all those parts that you see over there. That's all the outsoles, all the footbeds, all the insoles. They're going to match that up with the upper. They're going to bring it over here. These guys are going to set it up. And they set it up by putting it on racks, getting ready for it to go out into the lasting room. So match up, set up. These are all our last. Well, hey Aaron, how's it going?
All right.
This is Aaron Moore. He's our warehouse manager.
Nice to meet you.
His wife is our plant manager, Amy.
Oh, wow. Okay, we
So we
want to
keep
meet
it in
her
the family
too.
here.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
keep it in the
Good
family.
meeting y'all.
Nice to meet you.
So these are, both Amy and Aaron have been with us for 27, 28 years.
Wow.
Both started working for us when they were 18.
Wow. That's
Amy,
loyalty right there.
Yeah, well, and Amy started out in the fitting room. She was a fitter. And then she became what's called a line supervisor. And then she came.
You need some help?
No, I got it.
Okay.
So,
Oh, wow.
there's your last.
This is my life.
This
right
is your
there.
last right there.
Oh, wow.
That's a
Guys,
4A.
this is my whole foot right here.
This is for, of course, you know, a thong sandal.
Yes.
That's why it's split like that.
Wow.
So, this is your insole. Your entire shoe is going to get made on this insole. Everything is this insole. Each one of these insoles is molded to fit a particular last. This is not a generic piece. They also have to have molds to create the shape also for our insole. Okay? And this supports all of our insoles. You see these rivets? That's a steel shank. And that is what gives all of our shoes support. All of our shoes, including the ones you have on, have steel shanks in them. And that's so that when you go from your heel to your toe, it gives you enough support and the shoe doesn't break down and stress your insole. Once the insole board is on, we saw the box toe, we saw that plastic piece in the toe. We have to do the same thing in the heel. That's called a counter. And that counter is just a stiff piece of plastic that's inserted into the back part of the shoe. So she's heating up the counter. That's to make it soft. She places it very carefully into the back part of the shoe, and then she puts it in this mold. And that mold creates the shape of the heel. And again, there's all different molds for different shoes. Make sure we get it correct. So once that's ready to go, now we're ready to actually put it on the ready to be made into a shoe. Everything is in there. You've got your counter, you've got your box toe, all your linings are done, everything's ready to go. So we do the heel first and the toe second. That's to ensure that our back seams are straight. First thing he does is he's heating up that counter that you just saw, that woman is inserting, right? So he puts it again on the mold and he heats it up under pressure, right? That gets it ready to be formed. It makes it malleable enough so it can be formed. Then he comes over and he takes now the last with the insole on it, puts it in this machine, and the machine is going to put glue and use pressure to glue, or cement, sorry, the back part onto the insole board. So once you can see now that all the heels are on the machine. So now the heel has been cemented down. Now we got to cement the toe down. Okay. That's called toe lasting or pull over.
Pull over.
So, again, extremely critical. The shoe is, you make it or break it right here. If Frankie doesn't get the toe straight, if Frankie doesn't get enough material pulled over, if Frankie doesn't get the seams to line up exactly, then the shoe is no good and it's not going to look good.
And all of that work.
All of that. And you can see what he's got is he has all these pinchers, and these pinchers grab the leather. Frankie has all these controls that allow him to control all those pinchers. There's 6 sets of them. He controls each one of those individually, and he will tweak that depending on the style of shoe that he's doing. That allows him to make sure, again, that the seams are perfectly straight. And more importantly, and the true difficulty in this job, is to make a pair. Alright, so he does the left shoe, then he does the right shoe. The left shoe, the right shoe. If the left shoe is pulled over just a little bit further, or a little bit less than the right shoe, your pair doesn't match.
What is that pad called that's hanging there?
Oh, that is actually does not come with the machine, which is why it's on a rubber band. Keep that pad, you see the top pad that comes down and pushes down on the toe? That gets hot over time. These are big, heavy machines. They got a lot of heat on them. That will discolor the leather. So that pad prevents that. Now we've got the toe, now we've got the heel, now we got to do this. This is Colby. Hey, Colby.
Hi.
So now we got the heel done, now we have the toe done, now we've got to cement this part. There you go. You can step in there and see it working. So first,
Hi.
hero, first he heats it up, alright? Then the machine injects the cement and then applies the force. That's on side.
Side lat.
Although we don't have anybody doing it right now. The next step, I told you that we put water on the shoe. So we will take, that's just a water hose. We're going to spray the shoe completely. We're going to send it through that heat setter, okay, at about, let's see where she's running now. At about 170 degrees. Wow. A couple of minutes. I can't remember what the draw time is exactly. And what that's going to do is that's going to pull the leather down tight onto the last. Now, this one looks pretty good already, so this shoe's looking very good. But sometimes you'll see a lot of wrinkles in here. The leather won't be very snug down on the last. So wetting it and heating it shrinks the leather and allows it to set properly. You can see, for example, this is here's another foray. So you can see this is a fabric combination fabric shoe, which you can see here how everything now has been glued down. This is a difficult shoe to last because of all the combination of materials. This part is fabric, this part is gore, this part is leather. So you've got three completely different materials that have different adhesion strengths and different tensile strengths. So this is a tricky one to last correctly and make sure it all works. The operator is what's called set treating those outsoles. The outsoles come to us when they come out of the mold at the outsole factory. The molds have a resist put in this, kind of like looks like butter in a pan. And it's to keep the mold from sticking in, the outsoles from sticking in the mold. Well, that stuff that resists will also resist cement. So we have to clean the outsole to make sure that it can't take the cement. So that's what she's doing. She's cleaning the outsole to make sure that it can take the cement.
Is it like acetone?
Yes, exactly.
I was like, it smells like it.
It can smell exactly like a nail shop. Yeah, it's an acetone base. These guys are just finishing the shoe up. This operation is called crowning. She is looking at the shoe. She's seeing if it has a lot of wrinkles. She's seeing, like you can see her here, she's brushing it to make sure there's no dirt or dust on it. If it does have wrinkles, she's going to do the crowning part. This is very hot, so this is hot air. And then she uses that, and she uses her water brush as well, so she can wet the material and then use the heater to help shrink that material and shrink out those wrinkles. So some wrinkles are just stress wrinkles, and so she'll shrink them out with that combination of water and heat. These two are the most important people in the factory, right there. Anyway, everything about the shoe is perfect. So they are our first line of defense. So that's one of our latest styles that's getting ready to go out. And you
What's the name of that?
this is the Markella. She's making sure basically it's perfect. There's no wrinkles in the shoe. You know, the outsole all looks good. You can't see any roughing. You can't see any cement. All the top seams are clean. Edges are good. And then they're going to put laces in it and stuff it, put a footbed in there. It's ready to go. You can see the shoe, this shoe now is completely finished. It's got its footbed in there. It's been stuffed. Okay, we use foam, we use tissue, and it is ready to go in a box.
Morning.